the world's getting back to normal again, car shows are back. And that includes one of ours, Japfest, the UK's biggest and best celebration of all things automotive from Japan. Whether you're into a modified Supra, a Silvia drift car, an obscure K car, or a 70s family hatchback that you thought was extinct by now, chances are there's something at Japfest for you. Now, when I learned that I'd be going to the show this year, Phil said to me, well, why don't you find something Japanese to turn up in? Now, sadly, I couldn't prize the keys to the Avensis away from Jeff, so I got in touch with my friends at Mazda UK and borrowed this, their heritage example of a Mk1 MX5. The MX5 is one of the darlings of the Japanese car scene. On the one hand, now they are over 30 years old and regarded as a genuine classic, you've got people preserving them and restoring them and making them their best, and on the other hand, you've got people extensively modifying them, changing wheels, changing exhausts, and even supercharging and turbocharging them. So arguably then, the MX5, and by extension the owners, represent the Japanese car scene perfectly. There really is no better car to take to Japfest. Now, I have planned to take a nice rural route to Silverstone as much as possible, nice winding country roads, roof down, MX5, what's not to like. But I do have to entrust a little bit of this journey to the M25, and as you can see, that's a decision that I'm living to regret. So let's put this traffic behind us and jump to something a little bit nicer.
Eventually the traffic thinned, and as afternoon turned into evening, the MX5 and I peeled off the motorway to take a slightly more scenic route.
So after more M25 traffic than I'd ever care to remember, I've now made it to the MX5's old friend, the B Road, where this car just won over motorists worldwide, but particularly in Britain, where we don't have long, straight, fast roads like in America. We've got roads like this, winding, twisty, tight country lanes, where an MX5 is pretty much the perfect tool for it. It's not as exciting as my beloved Toyota MR2, but to those that aren't familiar with a rear-wheel drive chassis, it's so much easier to drive quickly. It's more predictable, it's more stable. Driving on a winding country lane, sun's out, roof down, this is where the MX5 won over a whole new generation of drivers. And driving this now makes you realise quite why the MX5 is so popular.
I drove on with a smile on my face, and with the hotel nearing, there was just time for some reflection on the little Mazda.
I've done over 120 miles in this MX5 today, driven from the tight, twisty streets around Tunbridge Wells, some monstrous traffic on the M25, and then some little winding B roads. And through all of them, it's been a joy. It's easy to chuck around in town. It's comfortable to sit on the motorway for a little sports car. It's not too bad on fuel, and it's refined enough that it doesn't give you a headache. And then when you get to a little winding road, it wakes up and suddenly you can chuck it around and have some fun with it. This might not be quite the machete of a sports car that an MR2 is. It's not as sharp and precise and exciting. But what it is the Swiss Army knife of sports cars. It's all things to all people, no matter how serious or casual your interest in open-top sports car motoring is. And that could be why so many people love the MX5 so very much.
Now, in the hotel tonight,
there are certain other Japfest attendees that look like they'll be joining me. Let's have a quick look around. So here is the wicked little MX5 that I've driven down in, parked next to a Mark II Toyota MR2 Turbo, which we never got the turbo in the UK, so this will be a Japanese import, and we are loving that. That's a properly cool car. There's a Nissan Silvia S15 here with an enormous intercooler, and you can probably tell, sporting quite a lot wider of a body than it did as standard. It's a Mitsubishi Evo 8 or 9 possibly, and then a pair of DC5 Honda Integra Type Rs. White or blue, take your pick. Elsewhere, I'm afraid I don't really know what this is, and it's badged as an SSS X2. Comment down below if you know what that means. There's also this lovely Nissan Primera. It's a really nice shade of orange. This thing has been well cleaned, and it's parked next to a Skyline. Lovely. So purely on the strength of the hotel car park, Japfest looks set to be an awesome show this year, and we are going to show you setting it up. So I'll see you in the morning. Well, it's the morning of Japfest. You can probably see by all the damp on the car that it's a very cold morning of Japfest, and we had to drive through a muddy puddle last night, which is kind of irritating. But nonetheless, you might be wondering how a travelling videographer gets all his kit in an MX5, and the answer to that is being very good at Tetris. That is absolutely loaded to the lip of the boot there with everything. But nonetheless, the car is packed, I'm raring to go, so let's go. And here we are, the fast car stand, where an old friend is waiting. Yep, it's the CRX. The CRX is here. Hello, mate. So we've made it to Japfest. MX5 parked up next to the CRX, but the drive down here, it's a little bit dirty, so I think it's just time for a quick clean before the show starts. So there we have it, MX5 all cleaned, looking the part. You can see I've already been geared up with earpieces and lanyards, and I've got a job to do. So I hope that's a nice little insight into a drive to Japfest 2021. I can't wait to see the show, so I'm going to leave you with this.
Speaking of the CRX, you could win it. We're giving away this rare and extremely tidy 1989 Honda CRX 1.6i 16, and at just a £5 a ticket, it's a no-brainer. Visit shop.kelsey.co.uk/promotion/Honda CRX and get your entry in before the winner is announced at Track Silverstone on Sunday the 3rd of October 2021. Good luck!